Hi, welcome to Sassy and Crafty Stencil Technique class. I'm going to be doing a 3-part video series just working on stencil techniques. Today we're doing pen and pencil, and what we're going to be doing over the series of these 3 videos is working with one stencil, making 9 cards, and just the same sketch. So that way we can really focus on technique. So let's get started. I've taken a piece of hot pink paper here and our awesome star stencil, and I'm just using a piece of paper a little bit bigger than the stencil, which is 6 by 6. And I'm just taking a basic black marker. It's a zig marker, but you can use what you've got. And we're just going to take it and we're going to trace around the star, the outside edge of the star. This is like one of my most favorite techniques. It's so much fun because you just scribble. That's all you have to do, so you can't mess it up, and it really turns out really fantastic. I love the look of it. Don't worry about being too neat and tidy with this, just go for it. Now, when you get into some of these smaller stars, it gets a bit tight, but just go slow and have fun with it. So go ahead and finish out this entire thing. This did not take me more than like 5 minutes. Again, you don't have to be careful, so you can just breeze right through it. It's a really fun technique, and I think it would be fun with different colors, you know, like different markers on maybe white paper. So let's take a look at the reveal here.
I don't know why. Maybe I'm just thinking of our Little Punks stamp set, but it reminds me kind of like a rock and roll pirate vibe. So it's going to work great for that. Keep these little leftover pieces because you can use this on the inside of the card, so you can tie the front and the inside together. All right, let's make our second piece of paper, if you will. So we're going to be using some Copic markers and a fine point zig marker in black. And then all you need for this is just white paper and pens. Like, you can use whatever color blend you want. I like this color choice of blues and oranges and yellows. It's really bright. And I'm thinking of using it with our Sassy Girl stamp, so that'll kind of give it a comic book feel. So I'm going to use just a little bit of my Post-it tape just to secure down the paper and the stencil. But I've used my Pixie spray on the back, which I really love because you don't have to apply it every time. It lasts, so you can use it again and again. So you're going to take your zig marker, and just like before, you're going to outline those stars. But you're going to do it a little bit more careful because we're not going to be scribbling inside. We're going to want that nice thick black outline. So take your time and go slow. This took a little bit more time than the first one, but you know, that's okay. Do it like these kinds of projects, honestly, I do in front of the TV where I'm just relaxing and watching TV and just kind of drawing at the same time. So here I have all my stars outlined, and remember, you're only having a 2 by 5 strip of paper. So don't feel like you need to color this entire thing unless you want, you know, the excess for the inside of the card or something. So you're just going to simply peel off your stencil, and we're going to color the inside. So we're just going to color in those stars from dark to light as a gradient, moving upwards to the light. So if you've chosen different colors, just why don't you go ahead and try that, color from dark to light. So I'm going to color in just a few stars here because I think it would be pretty boring for you to watch me color in every single star. So here you get an idea of what my colors will look like. So they go from a deeper shade to medium to light. And this is what it looks like complete. I wound up only using one orange because the other orange looked pretty much in the same tone. So I figured I'll just use one. But that's what it looks like. Isn't that totally fun? And then on this little star, I accidentally went over the line, and I thought, there's another technique. I mean, that would be cute to purposefully color outside the lines on every single one. I think that would be really pretty. So remember, you are cutting just a 2 by 5 strip, so kind of move it around and decide what is the best strip. Cut those out, and then because I'm doing a comic book style, I wanted to take my C3 marker and add some dots, just so it's like another fun texture in there to make it look more comic bookish. So you can see now it looks like pattern paper that you've created yourself. Okay, let's do our third and final technique, which is one of my favorites. It's craft paper and colored pencils and a white gel pen. I absolutely love the way this looks because when you color on craft paper with colored pencil, it just really pops. It is so pretty. The colors just jump off. I love it. So I've chosen 4 different colors here, and the way I'm going to spread those out is I want you to think of it as like a triangular pattern. So while you have colored here, just kind of make a triangle of where the color will go, so that way you're spacing it out enough so all the colors aren't so close to one another. So continue spreading color out in that way, and then you'll have a completed set just like this. And isn't that just beautiful? Look at how the colors just pop off the craft paper. It is so pretty. So you could go ahead and leave it like this if you wanted to, but I want to add a little something more. So I'm going to be using my gel pen to add a white outline around the outside edges of each star. So I'm going to be adding a very thin line around each star, and at least that was my intention. And when I did that, I accidentally made one line too thick and realized I kind of liked the look of it. So, you know, happy accidents. There's no mistakes, only embellishment opportunities, right? So see, there's that thick line. So I decided I'm going to go thick all the way around this thing. And I think it actually pops more. And the other thing too is I'm not trying to be steady here. I'm okay with it not being perfectly straight. In fact, I kind of want it to look wonky. I mean, if wonky is even a word. I like the look of it being crooked and not perfect, and I think that kind of adds to the aesthetic of it. And then when you get to those really tiny stars, that's really going to look wonky. Really, really wonky. And I'm going to show you something else you can do if that's not the look that you want to do. So here it is complete. And you can see as a whole, it does not matter that some stars are funky. See, you've got some funky ones, you've got some perfect ones. It doesn't matter. It all just looks fun together. But I did want to show you an alternative. You can put the stencil back over it and go over with that white pen and have perfect outlines and perfect lines. And then for the tiny ones, just make them solid white because you're not going to be able to outline them. So here's our 2 pieces of paper complete, and look at what fun it is. There's all of our strips of paper, and now we're ready to put them together and make some fun cards. So remember, we're going to be making the same layout all throughout this video series just because we want to focus more on technique. So what we're doing is we're cutting them into those 2x5 strips, and we're putting it on an A2 card base just like that. I will have the measurements down below under the video description, so you can look for that there. And then you can see me, like, I mess up here, it gets stuck the wrong way. Don't be afraid to peel that off and put it back on. You have time to do that. So we're going to be using a border strip on the majority of the cards, but we're going to kind of change that up. So sometimes it'll be ribbon, paper, sometimes there won't be a border. But just know it'll be basically the same card base over and over again. So just really simple. If you want, you can also trim those 2x5 panels, making them thinner if you want to see more of your card base coming through. That's also an option you can do. I just like the idea of there being like a thin matting around it. So we're going to be adding a rectangular strip, and it'll be different on each card. It's basically another 2x5 strip, but we'll cut a little bit off on some of them, and other ones we'll keep it long and mat it. I think we need to add our cute plushy happy dragon on here because he's just adorable and he just looks like he's skipping and loving life, and I think that goes along with our bright colored stars. So there he's stamped, and I've used our Spring Friends stamp set to put Have a Nice Day in some Peacock Distress Oxide ink. And I'm going to use those same pencils we used for the paper to color him. So just a heads up, please do not do what I'm doing. Okay, I am coloring on top of my card, and you do not want to do that because what happens is that line, that break between our background pieces of paper will show through when you're coloring. So please do not make that mistake. In a second, I will take it off and put it on the mat and color it appropriately. But I wanted to warn you, give you a heads up that please do not do that. I got caught up in coloring and wasn't thinking it through. So I'm going to lay down my lightest shade here, and I am barely coloring, okay? I am adding the slightest amount of color because I want his belly and his mouth and that little pad on his foot to be the lightest shade possible. So now I'm going to go in with this violet color, and I'm going to go ahead and lay it down much heavier because I want his skin to really pop. I want that to be the majority of the color. So I'm going to add it in light, and then where I'm deciding where my shadow is going to be is where I'm going to press really hard with the pencil. So remember, when you're using limited colors, just press really light for your lighter areas and press harder and harder as you graduate to a deeper tone. So your shadow you're pressing hard, and your lightest area you're going to press really light. And then if you have a white pencil, you can always go over it when you're finished with a white pencil in order to kind of blend those colors together a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and put on a little music so you can finish watching me color dragon, and then I'll join you again.
the rays fall, 'cause the sun is gone, and I feel that I'm looking in. So I divide my time up as best I can, and I know that I'll never win. And so when I'm scared, I feel alone. My heart just wants to live it on. So if I light 'em up and I smoke 'em down, but I still feel like I don't fit in, 'cause it's a must that I have your trust, and I always seem to win. And so when I'm scared, I feel alone. My heart just wants to live. And some say there are many other questions, and some say in any other time. So the sun is gone and I'm feeling strong, but I wanna live again. And so when I'm scared, I feel alone. My heart just wants to live alone. My heart alone. As the rays fall, 'cause the sun is gone, and I feel that I'm looking in. So I divide my time up as best I can, and I know that I'll never win. And so when I'm scared, I feel alone. My heart just wants to live it on. So if I light 'em up and I smoke 'em down, but I still feel like I don't fit in, 'cause it's a must that I have your trust, and I always seem to win. And so when I'm scared, I feel alone. My heart just wants to live. And some say there are many other questions, and some say in any other time. So the sun is gone and I'm feeling strong, but I wanna live again. And so when I'm scared, I feel alone. My heart just wants to live alone. My heart alone.
So we're just about finished with our dragon, and you can see I've used that same light kind of violet purple tone for his whole body. But when I was coloring, I thought, you know, I wanted to add maybe a little bit of a different color to the shadow. So I just took that kind of bluish periwinkle color and I just barely added a little bit of it to the edge of the shadow side of the dragon. So you can see I'm adding it to the edge of his head, and I just put that a little bit here and there. There's really no rules to this. Like, it just have fun with it. That's all that really matters. You know, dark to light, I think that's pretty much the only rule you need to go by. And the rest of it, I think you should have fun and play with color and see what happens. So here I'm adding that teal to the final little pieces, and I'm definitely loving the colors and the way they turned out. And I really love the way he's going to blend with our star paper. Here's that technique I was talking about where you're going to take a white pencil and you can just go over what you've just done, and it'll actually kind of blend your colors together and make it look really soft. You definitely don't have to do this, so don't feel like it's necessary. But when you do it in person, it's really hard to see on camera, but when you do it in person, you're going to be able to see that it just kind of blends it all together and gives it like this really beautiful softness. And I like the look of it. So definitely try it. If you've never tried it, it's worth trying. There, our cute little dragon is done. I think he's adorable, and I love that he goes perfectly with our card colors. Now it's time, I think, for a few little embellishments, because you guys know me, more is more. I found this washi tape that I thought was fun, so I just put a strip of it down on top of our border. And then I think I'm going to put maybe a little piece of washi tape at the top. I thought that might look kind of fun, like he's taped on. I just got to make it perfect. I like it to be perfectly straight, you guys. That's my thing. It's got to be straight. So I love the look at that because it brings in that kind of pop of teal that we have just a little bit on his wings and his little headpiece. And believe it or not, I still feel like it needs more. You know how I am. I just have to have all the embellishments. So I've got my buttons out here. I'm going to move them around and see what I think looks good. By the way, my button storage, it's actually a spice rack from Goodwill that rotates. It's really fantastic. It holds tons of buttons. You guys might want to think about doing that for an organizational thing. It's fun. So there's our card. He's so bright and full of color. And now we're going to make our other two cards here. We've got the comic book strip one. I think I'm going to do on a blue base. And then I'm going to do these, what I call my pirate punk rock and roll strips, on a black card base. And I'm really sad because, you guys, I thought I hit record and I did not. So those cards you're going to see will be completed. I actually did not record it. I'm so sorry. But at least we're using that same card base. For comic book, I'm using Sassy Girls. And for this one, I'm going to be using the little pirate bear from Little Punk stamp set. So at least we have that same base you guys can follow, and you'll know exactly what that looks like because we've just done a card together. So here's the comic book one. I just absolutely think she's adorable. I gave her blue hair and an orange-yellow bow. I think it goes perfect with our background. You can see it's the exact same layout, and all I've done differently is I've matted our girl in the center there on a black piece of paper and stamped OMG. I think I'm going to color that background gray. I think that'll look good. And here again, same layout, and I've given it a little bit of dimension with some foam tape, and instead of putting it straight, I've put it at an angle. So really simple. Once you get that first card layout done, you're just going to keep repeating it. And look, we've got 3 great cards from it and 3 new techniques that you've learned. I'm so glad you joined me, and I hope you guys learned something new and you've been inspired to make something fun with your stencils and try something maybe you've never tried before. Remember, we have 2 more videos after this. We're going to learn 6 more techniques. So please join me on this YouTube channel, subscribe and like the videos, and please leave comments for what you'd like to see in the future. Be sure to check our website for more products, more fun, and more inspiration. Thanks so much.